Hi, I'm Bridget, and thank you so much for being here today with me for day 1 of 30 days of 10-minute yoga. So we're going to be committing to 10 minutes of yoga a day for the next 30 days. And we're going to get started today in a nice, comfortable seated position. So whatever that is for you, I've just got my ankles crossed. You might like to sit up on the knees. If you've got a cushion or something nearby that you would like to sit on, then that is perfect as well. So just finding a nice, comfortable seated position. We're going to get really nice and tall through the spine here. So imagining a nice long line from the top of the head all the way down to the tailbone. We're going to drop the shoulders down, so draw them away from the ears. I like to squeeze them back a little bit here as well. And then we're just going to gently close down the eyes. We're going to take a couple of moments here to really connect with the breath. And we're really going to work on connecting with the breath for the next 30 days. So closing down the eyes, taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Exhale out through the nose. And then keeping the breath moving just like that. Just taking this moment of stillness for yourself. So maybe checking in with how you feel. Noticing where the mind's at today. And we're really going to practice just noticing. So noticing what comes up, not judging anything, just becoming aware and then letting it go. Being with the breath. And then on an exhale, you can keep the eyes closed here or just gently blink them open. On an exhale, we're going to drop the chin down towards the chest, breathing into the back of the neck. And then we'll draw some nice big circles with the nose. So really slowing it down here. One way. And back the other way. So moving really nice and slowly. Stay with the breath. And then we'll bring the head back to center and we'll take a couple of rolls of the shoulders. So on an inhale, let's stay with the breath. We'll squeeze the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, we draw the shoulders together and squeeze them down the spine. So really mindful movement. Slowing it down. And then we'll reverse our circles. So draw the shoulders up, we squeeze them forward and draw them down. And then we'll sink the shoulders down. And we're going to move into our tabletop for our cat-cow. So from your seated, we're going to make our way onto the hands and the knees. So we're going to stack the shoulders above the wrist, stack the hip points above the knees, pressing down into the tops of the feet, and then again flatten out through the spine again here. So we draw the shoulders away from the ears, draw the belly button up towards the spine, nice and long through the head and the neck here. So give yourself a couple of moments here to just set yourself up. So spread the fingers really nice and wide here. We're pressing down into all 10 fingerprints, all 10 knuckles, and then we'll move through our cat-cow. So on an inhale, we're going to start to curl the tailbone up, drop through the belly, send the chest forward, maybe look up. We're squeezing the shoulder blades back. And then exhale, we'll curl the tailbone under, start to round through the spine and let the top of the head drop down towards your mat. Inhale, we curl the tailbone up, drop through the belly, squeeze the shoulder blades back, send the chest forward, maybe looking up. Exhale, we round through the spine. So you can really start to sync this movement up with your breath now. So you're slowing it down as much as you need to, making it your own. So take your time. Warming up the spine here for our practice. Maybe closing down the eyes again. And we'll take one more. And And then make our way back to center. So flattening back out into that tabletop. So draw the shoulders away from the ears, flattening out through the spine. We're going to make our way to our first downward facing dog. So walk the hands forward just an inch or two. Tuck the toes under. We're going to lift the knees away from our mat and send the hips towards the top back corner of the room. Pedaling out through the feet here, you can give the knees a nice generous bend so that you can really flatten out through the upper body. We really want to find that nice long line through the spine, nice and long through the arms. So if you feel like you're here trying to get the legs straight, we're going to bend them so that we can really press the chest back towards the tops of the thighs. Breathing into the backs of the legs. And then on an inhale, we're going to look forward between the hands, bend the knees, and then go for a nice slow walk up towards the top edge of our mat. We find our forward fold. So hinging from the hips here. So rather than trying to get the legs really straight and draw the head down, we're going to give the knees a nice generous bend so that we can hinge through the hips, draw the belly towards the tops of the thighs, and then we bend. So this should feel like a really nice release through the lower back here. You might like to give the head a little shake, go for a little sway from side to side, breathing into the backs of the legs again here. Bend the knees even more, breathing into the backs of the legs. And then on an inhale, we're going to find our halfway lift. So we'll draw the hands up the front of the legs all the way up to those hip creases, staying nice and flat through the spine here. So we're hinging at the hips, flattening out through the spine. Draw the shoulders away from the ears here. Breathing into the backs of the legs. And exhale, we fold forward. Take a moment in your forward fold. Maybe go for another little sway from side to side. And then inhale, we'll find that halfway lift again. So trace the hands up the front of the legs all the way up to those hip creases. And exhale, we round it forward. We'll ground down through the feet here. We're going to tuck the chin in towards the chest and then slowly roll up to standing. So starting at the tailbone, see if you can slowly roll up through the spine. Let the head and the neck come up last. Let the arms hang heavy here. And then we find our standing. So grounding down through the feet here, just a slight bend through the knees, slight tuck of the tailbone so that we're not crashing into the lower back. Palms are shining forward here. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Standing nice and tall, maybe closing down the eyes. Again, just take a moment of stillness to check in with how you feel. Being in the present moment, find the breath. And then on our next inhale, we're going to take a nice deep breath, reaching the hands up and overhead. Give the knees a little bend here. So inhale, we reach up and overhead. Exhale, we're going to come down through center. We find that forward fold. So hinge at the hips. You can give those knees a nice bend here. We come back to our forward fold. From here, we're going to plant the palms, step it back into our plank, and let's take a moment in our plank here. So again, let's stack the shoulders above the wrists here. Spread the fingers really, really nice and wide. We want to flatten out through the whole body now. So imagining a nice long line from the top of the head right down to the tailbone. So right down to the heels this time. So tuck the tailbone down. Nice and strong through the legs, nice and strong through the arms. We're drawing the belly button back towards the spine. Keeping the breath moving here. And then we'll drop the knees down. On an exhale, we'll lower the chest all the way down to our mat. And find our cobra, our heart opener. So pressing down into the palms. They should be underneath the shoulders. We're going to press to lift the chest. And I like to imagine like a string or something wrapped around the back of my chest and pulling my chest forward. So we're really sending it forward. Drop the shoulders, pressing into the tops of the feet. And then exhale to lower. We're going to take a little bit more opening through the shoulders and the chest here. So I'm going to bring my left arm out to the side. I'm going to roll onto the left side of my body and then just step that right foot back behind the left leg. You can rest your head down on your mat. You've got that right hand in front of you here. Really reaching with that left arm and trying to draw the right shoulder blade back with you. This should feel like a really nice opening through the chest and the shoulders. Taking a nice deep breath here. And then we'll make our way back to center and take it to the other side. So I'm going to send my right arm out long this time. I'm going to roll onto the right side of my body, step that left foot behind the right leg. I've got my left hand in front of me to press me into this stretch. So drawing that left shoulder back this time and really reaching through the right arm. Find the breath here. And then we'll make our way back to center. I'm going to press back up into my tabletop, so up through hands and knees. I'm going to cross one heel over the other to come back through seated, and then we'll make our way all the way back to lie down. Making our way to our Savasana to close our practice here today. So if you're feeling a little bit tight or sore through the lower back, you can keep the knees bent here. Just walk the feet a little bit wider and let the knees fall in together. So this is always an option if sending the legs out long feels like too much in the lower back. But if that feels okay, that's what we're going to do. We're going to send the legs out long. Bring the arms to either side, palms facing up. Starting to close down the eyes and let the breath return to normal. Feel yourself getting really heavy here. Sinking down towards your mat a little bit more with each exhale, so really melting down. And I encourage you to stay for your Shavasana for at least a couple of minutes. So we'll find our Shavasana together before we end our practice. And if you would like to stay here for a little while longer, then you can pause the video and stay with the breath. Otherwise, when you're ready, we'll start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. You can rock the head side to side. And rolling onto one side, bending the knees really slowly. We make our way back up to seated. So again, finding a nice, comfortable seated position. Just letting the palms rest on the knees. Take another moment of stillness here. Maybe just checking in with how you feel now in seated compared to the beginning of your practice. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more open. And we'll close our practice here today by taking one last nice deep breath together. So we'll inhale the hands up and overhead, bring the palms together. Exhale, we bring the hands together at the heart, bow through the head and the neck. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. Namaste.